Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. Welcome to our channel. The animals, we made a cattle drive this morning, and now we're actually getting ready to put them into, we had them in a holding area over here. It's on the south side of our driveway, and it's only about half an acre. We left them there for about an hour, just to kind of put a little impact on it. There's some good stockpiling, and they left quite a bit, which is fine. We'll come back to that. But they're gonna be pretty happy campers in here. This is right by our house, and we've got today's paddock will be about 5 acres. So there's 375 head on 5 acres. And tonight, because we've got the hay already located, we're trying to stretch out this stockpile. We've got it figured if we graze in the morning, leave them on the same paddock at night, after they've grazed the stockpile off, we'll put out 3 bales here tonight, if they need it. Now if they don't, we can kind of look at the stockpile and maybe only 1 bale. Because we want them to clean this up. We're gonna move them off of here when they got about 2 to 3 inches of this stockpile left. I don't want them taking it down to the carpet, or it looks like a carpet. Boy, these cows, they're gonna really be happy in here. We've got the new pond. Oh, I gotta show you the new pond. This is one we built. Johnny was here in, I think when we did get that one in. It was before Christmas. I think he finished it up right before Christmas. And that darn thing is already half full of water. It's got almost a perfect watershed. Man, this is just a wonderful sight. Look at the stockpile out here, folks. This is February 26th, and we've got stockpile up to the top of my boots. Good stuff. I'm kind of guessing we may not have to put out hardly any hay tonight. This tree right here, we're going to run a wire around that tree, because there's basically a lot of fertility has been dropped around that tree. We don't want them lounging and hanging out under that tree. There's no grass under there. They don't need to be under there. And all they're going to do is just stand there and muck it up. So we're going to take a poly wire, and it's not going to be hot. We're just going to run it around that tree. The water of the canopy area at the edge of these branches. See that? If you leave that, it won't look like that tonight. It'll just be mucked up. So learn to see areas like that. And before you turn the cows in there or leave them in here, don't let them go in there and do that. It's just going to make a mud pit. Look at this big old cedar. That one's about 14 inches. Got a lot of red in it, and it's about 26 to 30, man, it's probably 26 feet long. And we're going to be milling that here pretty soon. Hopefully within the next couple weeks we're going to get the mill going again. This is the honey locust. That's the thorn tree, and I can't wait to mill that sucker. It is. I saw a guy cut one once, and I couldn't believe how beautiful the wood was. So that's a honey locust, and then this is a white oak. That's going to be some pretty boards coming out of that. And those all came out of this pond site down here. I can't hardly see the pond because of the cattle. I'm gonna walk down and show you the watershed. I see that the cattle are going to the very, very best spot first, and it's kind of right where that birdhouse is, right in here, and then it eases up on the other side of that big tree right there. There's about 2 acres over that hill on the other side of those cedars. That's part of this paddock. They're not going down there yet. And that's because that's the poorest part of this whole paddock, and these cows know it. So they're going to get the very best first, and then they'll go down there. So tonight, if we do have to unroll hay, down on the other side of those cedars there, that used to be a cedar grove. I cleared it and got the stumps out, and it's a pretty hard old ridge, but you know, I've got grass on it now where I didn't have anything on it before. So I'm excited. It's getting better each year, and you know, as long as you can see improvement each year in what you're doing, it sure gives you a good feeling that you're making the land better each year. Well, there's a pretty heifer. 2 of them. 3 of them. Anyway, there's the pond and the spill. See, it's only got, golly, I cannot believe that. I mean, we had a couple good rains, but my goodness. Of course, all the snow melt. You know, we got all the snow melt coming down this valley here. So this thing's got a watershed on it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's probably 8 times, maybe 10 times the area of that pond. Ideally, it should be 5 to 7, but that's why it caught so much water. But that's cool. There's my pipe in the middle of it. It goes out the back, and Johnny built me a pad back there where we're going to put our tire tank on. Do you notice we got it all seated down, and we got a wire around it. There is no animals going to be allowed to get in that pond. And once it gets filled up, we will move that wire in a little bit, because that's all been seeded to fescue. And we got it in about the 1st of December, and we seeded it down real good, and there's fescue coming up. It's already in there. So we got to go there and look. I can't believe we got that good a stand, but we certainly did. But folks, look at that. See all those little baby seedlings in there? If you don't put down hay when you spread your grass seed, don't put down the grass seed, because you just wasted your grass seed. You've got to put hay down, and we pitchfork it. You can see about the consistency we put down, and it should have had more hay on it. I didn't hay this when I was gone, but you know, that's just the way it happens sometimes. It should have had hay clear down to the bottom of the pond. That way you don't get this right here. See this? So I lost a little bit of dirt right there on that point just because there wasn't hay clear down to the bottom of the pond. It only would have taken another 1/4 of a bale to do that. So hay it all, hay the whole thing, all the way down to the bottom on all sides of the pond, and you won't have any of this erosion like you see here where this one didn't get covered. See that? So now I've got a ditch right there. You wouldn't have that. So always cover them all the way down to the very bottom. There you can see that pole that's sticking out of the water there. It's got holes drilled in it, and it's taped, and then it's got fiberglass or a polyethylene rope tying that to that fiberglass rod. That made a nice pond. We put this pond in an area where this just was a little branch of woods coming up in this draw here. There wasn't any grass in there, so we didn't lose a whole lot of grazing by putting that in there. And I didn't have any water on this side of the house. I do now. And there you can see the shut off back there. So we'll get that tire tank probably put in this fall, right back to between those trees, and we'll have a good place for the cattle to drink. I love tire tanks, especially in the winter. We just came off of one over on docks this morning. The boys cut the ice off of that, and there wasn't any ice froze on it this morning because the tire tank acts as an insulator. Boy, that is a pretty sight right there. We've got a ton of work of reels and posts that we gathered up this morning due to our cattle drive being done at docks. So now we can take all that material. We're going to get a whole bunch of paddocks put in here on Judy farm. So this weekend all we have to do, today's Thursday, tomorrow will be Friday. All we have to do is just roll a wire up. Man, this is just an idyllic situation here. No hay to unroll. Just move the animals and let them feed themselves. And then if you need to feed them a little bit, get that little ATV bale unroller, take her out on the pastures. I had a young man text me last night. I said, man, this thing's pretty slick. He had a picture of it out. He just fed his cows over here south of me. He said, this thing didn't leave any ruts. I'm like, that's right. Doesn't leave any ruts. That's one of the beautiful parts about our ATV bale unroller. It's soft out here. And we've got 375 head on this field. And you'll be able to come out here tonight and it's not going to be tore up. Now, if I had the big ones, 14 to 1,600 pound cows, I would have me a wire somewhere up where I didn't want to ever grow any grass again, and that's where they'd be. I'd have hay up there in the sacrifice lot, because you just can't put big cows out on land like this. They will destroy your farm. You won't grow any grass. The next year, all you'll grow is ragweed, because everywhere those big cows punch your sod down about a foot deep, you're going to have common ragweed. And I'm talking a solid stand of it. You can't make a living grazing common ragweed on compacted soils. And folks, it takes years. I'm talking 20 years for a paddock to recover from a severe pugging event during a rainstorm. So be careful. If you got the big ones, you need to have a place to get them off your pasture. These are like a bunch of big deer out here. They just don't, they got little bitty feet. There's 900 to 1,000 pounds on those little feet, and they just don't tear stuff up. I love the sound of that. All you can hear is just chink, chink, chink. And they're going after these little clover spots first, and then they'll eat that fescue. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off of here, and everyone have a good one. On the way out, hit that subscribe button and that like. I'd appreciate it, and we're going to see you all down the road.